Hi everyone and welcome once more to my channel. I'm Lady D and today we are going to talk about the childhood trauma, to be specific, effects of childhood trauma. And we know that childhood trauma are past experiences during childhood that are emotionally distressing or disturbing. Also, they have long-lasting effect on a person's mental and emotional well-being. Oh, we know that these effects they vary from one person to the other. Also, we know that they also manifest in various ways in adulthood. So the reason for doing this video is basically for us as caregivers or parents or early childhood educators or teachers, that we have is to make aware the effects of the childhood trauma. And we know that when a child has the trauma when they're young, that it can make a long-lasting effect. So this is just to create awareness of what can be the effects of those childhood traumas, since we have the most important job as caregivers. As I normally say, I think caregiving is the most important job because we are part of the development of a child. The child that we are privileged to take care of, we are part of that child's life. So I think it is very, very, very important for us as caregivers to be aware. So this video is actually to create awareness for the effects of childhood trauma, because we know that the effects of childhood trauma can disrupt the normal development of a child. So what are these effects when the normal development of a child is disrupted? So this is to create awareness to caregivers, and also to let them to create some knowledge and to let them be informed of the effects of early childhood. So I'll talk about three basic ones, or I'll talk about three common effects of childhood trauma, and I'll divide them into, the first one will be mental health illness, and the second one will be maladaptive coping mechanisms, and the last one will be physical health problems. So when I begin with the mental health issues, I'll first talk about depression. We know depression is the mental disorder characterized by persistent feeling of sadness, loss of interest or pleasure in activities. Then I move to my second mental health issue that is under effect of childhood trauma, which is anxiety. So anxiety will manifest in physical emotions such as restlessness, muscle tension, increased heartache, sweating, trembling, and concentration. So anxiety disorder ranges from generalized anxiety disorder, which in short is called GAD. So one of the generalized anxiety disorder, in short GAD, is excessive worrying of aspects of life. So some of these are being hypervigilant. So you see that the people who have these effects of childhood trauma, they are always aware of their environment in case of any potential threat. So they are constantly on guard. And the next one is attachment issues. They have the fear of being rejection or being abandoned in relationship. So they can really have relationship difficulties. And then there's cognitive patterns in them, which is negative thinking leading to excessive worrying of the future in terms of health or finances or any other aspect. And then we also have control issues. So control issues is a coping mechanism for excessive worrying of aspects of life and anxiety. And it's a feeling of overwhelmed by uncertainty. That is what causes control issues. Also, we have self-esteem issues, which is low self-esteem issues, which will undermine a person's sense of self-worth. This can lead to feeling of shame, guilt, and inadequacy. And also we have trust issues that also can be difficult in relationship. Trust issues, yeah, and emotional regulation. So this can be emotional regulation, either overreacting or underreacting. So other generalized anxiety disorder can be specific phobia, panic disorder, and social anxiety disorder. So that was under anxiety. So we were talking about the mental health issues. So we've talked about depression, anxiety, and now we're going to talk about post-traumatic stress disorder. In short, is PTSD. So some of the symptoms are flashback from the trauma, some of the traumatic events, also avoiding some of the reminders. They also avoid people who have effects of this the childhood trauma. They avoid the reminders of the event, things that will remind them to the trauma they had. Also, they have heightened arousal or reactivity, as we said before, the feeling of constantly of the edge, or such as being easily startled, negative changes in moods, changes in emotional reaction. And the last one under the mental health issue is substance abuse. We've seen that this can also be an effect of early childhood trauma, where there is excessive use of substance like alcohol and drugs, which can cause to addiction. And once you're addicted, so you're independent on the substance, which can have some long-term health effect. So the next issue you're going to talk about is maladaptive coping mechanisms. We see that people or adults who have this childhood trauma, they form some coping mechanisms such as denial, like refusing to acknowledge the reality that they're in, procrastination, delay of important tasks that causes even more anxiety, and as we said early, overreacting and underreacting, excessive gaming or internet life, like they stay in there. Maybe you've experienced people who stay in the internet gaming the whole day and the whole night. So that can be also part of that. And withdrawal, pulling away or isolating themselves from the social interactions, that can also be part of that. And now they use those coping mechanisms. And we have aggression, they can be so aggressive, perfection, and avoidance, ignoring problems or refusing to confront difficult situations. So those are some of the coping mechanisms that adults with the early childhood trauma use. So we'll quickly go into physical health problems. So we see that childhood trauma can contribute to the development of physical health problem in adulthood. Remember, we said that effects of childhood trauma can disrupt the normal development of a child. So some of these physical health issues can be chronic pain, which can lead to chronic fatigue and chronic fatigue syndrome and others. Also, we have cardiovascular. So the cardiovascular is cardiovascular issues and the increased risk of developing heart disease, hypertension, and other cardiovascular problems later in life. Also, we have autoimmune disorder. This is simply diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, or multiple sclerosis. Also, the next one is gastrointestinal problem. So it's associated with irritable bowel syndrome and inflammatory bowel disease. So research suggests that early life stress can disrupt the balance of bacteria in the gut, known as the gut microbiota, leading to the IBS, which is the irritable bowel syndrome, and the inflammatory bowel disease, which is the IBD. So the next physical health issue is obesity. We have obesity, we have sleep disorders such as insomnia, substance abuse. Remember, we have mentioned it earlier. We also have it here in physical health issues. And then we also have immune system dysfunction. This is making individuals more susceptible to infections and other illness. So susceptible simply means making individuals more vulnerable to infections and other illness. Also, we have neurological condition. This is the increase of risk of developing conditions such as migraines, epilepsy, or chronic headaches. And then the last one is hormone imbalance. So the trauma can disrupt the body stress response system, which can lead to hormone imbalance that contribute to health problems, including reproductive issues. So those were basically the main three effects of childhood trauma. And we also like to add that it also have the impact on parenting, such that adults who have experienced childhood trauma may struggle with parenting their own children, and they may have difficulty in nurturing and giving consistent care to their children due to their own unresolved trauma issues. So as caregivers, we can see that indeed is a very big role that we have in the society for the type of development that a child gets when they're young in their early childhood under our care really can give a long-lasting effect to an adult. So it's just to make us aware that when we have these precious children in our care, we are supposed to be aware that they have effects of early childhood, which can disrupt their normal development that can lead to the three categories we've talked about the mental health, the physical health, and also the coping issues that adults who have gone through that trauma develop. So now today we've talked about the effects of childhood trauma. So in our next video, we are going to talk about the causes of this childhood trauma. So I would highly advise all the caregivers, your parents, early childhood educators, teachers, early childhood teachers, just to take time to look into this video. So it will help create awareness, or just give a reminder to those who are already aware, and to those who are not aware, it will create the awareness that we should know that this role that we have in the society is very important. As I normally say, it is the most important profession. That's what I feel, because I think, like, for example, in my profession, I handle children from 10 months. So imagine this 10-month child that has been brought to me by the parent to take care of them. So it's very important for me as a professional to make sure that this child does get the normal development to avoid these childhood traumas. So I think that is all for today. Thank you for watching this video today. I hope it made some sense. I hope you got some knowledge. I hope it created some awareness. So until next time, bye bye.